Wall Street have expressed concerns that the possibility of a recession is increasing. Is it okay in the short term to have a
Remember
recession?
this. Look, yes, everything's okay. What we are, I said, this is a transition period. I think we're going to do fantastically.
In today's world, trade is not just about goods, it's about power. Recently, Donald Trump shook the global market by announcing massive tariffs, 50% on countries like India and Vietnam, and a shocking 100% tariff on Chinese imports. This isn't just a trade war, it's a geopolitical chess game. Why? Because China controls critical rare earth materials, and with the Ukraine-Russia war adding more pressure, globally supply chains are under fire. But here's the catch: when America hits other countries with tariff, the pain doesn't stay overseas. It comes back home. Rising tariff means rising prices. Rising prices means inflation, and inflation means borrowing in America becomes more expensive. Interest rate goes up, consumer spending slows down, businesses feel the heat, and the dollar faces pressure. And add to that the proposal to impose a $1 lakh visa fee on H-1B visa applicants, and suddenly the US economy isn't just fighting competitors, it's fighting itself. And this whole tariff thing can also hurt the US economy indirectly. See, this is the part many people don't realize immediately. The tariff is paid by US importers, that is American company, not China. This will also hurt Chinese economy. This is a punishment strategy to hit China's export. If Chinese export become expensive, US companies might shift their supply chain elsewhere in the future. It's also a political message that we won't accept China's export control quietly. So talking about the tariff thing, Trump has imposed 100% tariff on Chinese product. So for example, if Chinese product costs $100 and Trump puts a 100% tariff, importers must pay $200. That extra cost is often passed to consumers, which result in high US inflation, like everything gets more expensive. And then companies' profit margins shrink. Cause cost rise, they have more expenses, but selling price cannot rise too much. Consumer have less spending power, and then stock market falls because investors fear lower profit and slower economy. If inflation increases due to tariff, the US government or Federal Reserve might need to increase interest rates to control inflation, which can slow down the economy, or borrow more, like issue more debt to support the economy, which can weaken the dollar. When investors see more economic uncertainty, they sell risky assets, and then the stock market drops. Now, tariffs are not meant to be a quick fix. They are a political and strategic pressure tool. US President knows this will hurt the US economy in the short term, but his goals are to pressure China to remove or soften export controls on rare earths, make their exports less competitive in the US market, and to push American companies to build or shift supply chain away from China, made in America or made in friendly countries like India, Vietnam, Mexico. And another clever move made by China is China has restricted rare earth materials globally and not just to the US. If China has targeted only the US, then it would look like a direct attack on America. Other countries might side with the US strongly. It could trigger even bigger retaliation. So now let's get into the economic core of our discussion about inflation. When the inflation is there, why interest rate rises? But before that, in today's video, I have explained and also going to explain that how China's rare earth strategy and the 100% tariff imposed by the US can impact global inflation, interest rate, government borrowing, and most importantly, how India can turn this global challenge into a big opportunity through its own rare earth mining and production initiatives. So to all my future subscribers, my hone wale subscribers, thank you in advance for your support. Please subscribe to my channel so I can bring you more clear and powerful educational content on global economics, geopolitics, and how it connects to the Indian markets and the Indian stocks. Your support means a lot. Let's grow and learn together. So now back to the topic, inflation. Inflation is where prices of goods and services increases quickly. If inflation goes high, the value of each dollar goes down. People's purchasing power reduces. Investors lose confidence. The job of Federal Reserve, the US central bank, is to keep inflation under control. So when inflation is high, the Fed raises interest rate. This makes borrowing money more expensive. People and companies borrow less, demand goes down, inflation cools down slowly. For example, home loans, car loans, business loans get more expensive. People spend less, prices rises slower, inflation goes down. Normally, when the interest rates goes up, the dollar actually gets stronger at first because investors around the world wants to buy US bonds because they pay more interest now. So when the Fed raises interest rates, bond yields, the return on US government bonds also go up. With the higher bond yields, investors prefer safe US bonds over risky stocks. This causes stock market to fall, dollar to become volatile, and global money to flow out of emerging markets like India. Now, why rising inflation can raise government borrowing cost? If inflation goes up, lenders demand higher interest rates to protect their returns. The government must then issue new debt at those higher rates, which result in high debt servicing costs. If debt service becomes large relative to revenue, then the budget stress grows, which result in more borrowing, which also result in possible loss of confidence. It's a debt spiral risk. So yes, President Donald Trump knows that this will hurt the US economy in the short term, but his goal is to pressure China to remove or soften export controls on rare earth, make their export less competitive in US market, and also push American companies to build or shift supply chain away from China. India may face short-term pain but could gain if supply chain shift. Now, this gives India a golden chance to attract new investment in electronics and semiconductors, auto and EV manufacturing, defense and aerospace, renewable energy, rare earth processing and refining. When US President raises tariff and China restricts export, global companies faces a problem that they cannot depend only on China anymore for critical materials and manufacturing, right? So they look for China plus one strategy, like they move their part of their manufacturing or sourcing to other countries like India, Vietnam, Mexico, etc. And then they spread the risk so no single country can block the supply chain. And India does have rare earth reserves. It's estimated to 6.9 million metric tons of rare earth oxides reserves. Rare earth production in India is currently very small compared to China. India mostly exports some raw materials but imports finished rare earth materials like magnets, refined elements, components. And that's all in this video. Do subscribe to my channel, and if you find this informative, then like and share.